All right, so the other day, being the weirdo that I am, I woke up and I decided, you know what? I've had these side scoops, these carbon fiber side scoops on my Elise for a while, but I kind of want to change back to the original side vents that are on the side of the car. But then I remembered why I put the scoops on in the first place, and that's because the vents were super faded and looked terrible. And I had tried to restore these with various different products, but nothing really worked that great and nothing really lasted. So I said to myself, if I'm gonna put these back on, I'm gonna get them looking good and black, just like they were when they were new. So if you wanna bring the black back to your plastic trim, whether it's on your Lotus, your Lamborghini, your Lexus, whatever you've got, I'm gonna show you in this video how to get a nice, deep, rich black finish on these that is supposed to last for a very long time. And I know there are a lot of videos out there testing these different products, and they go through a very rigorous, they'll do different parts of it and they'll wash it 50 times and all that. This is mine. Check it out. Maybe give me a like and a subscribe if you think it's cool. I'm not gonna do all that, but I will do a follow-up video in 6 months and show you how this is looking. But I'm convinced that this is gonna be the best solution because it's actually going to dye the material back to black rather than just put a coating on it. Holy smokes, these are dirty. All right, so the first thing that you'll wanna do is get the parts nice and clean before applying this aerosol dye. And if you can take the parts off the car, all the better. And I've got a pro tip for all you guys out there. Wait until your significant other is out of the house before you start cleaning dirty car parts in the kitchen sink. So after cleaning these parts with regular old Dawn dish soap, I'd recommend using a little bit of isopropyl alcohol to just give it a final wipe down and make sure there's no residues or anything left on them. So what I'm looking for is an easy way to get this back to black and something that lasts, because a lot of those spray-on dressings, they don't last more than just a couple of washes and then it's back to looking gray again. Some people had sanded these down and actually repainted them, and that actually looks awesome, but it seemed like a lot of work to get this all sanded down. It's got a lot of complicated edges and stuff like that, and so I didn't really want to do a full repaint on this. So what I'm gonna give a try here is this Eastwood plastic resurfacer stuff, which is basically like a spray dye, and I hope that it's gonna work. Now, a few people have mentioned that this is a painted surface, so I don't know how well it's gonna work, but I did about 3 coats of this plastic resurfacer stuff on there. All right, so hopefully you can tell the difference here, but we've got the old one here on the left, an original, and this was about how faded they were looking. And then I've got the newly treated one on the right, and I think it's a pretty noticeable difference. Looking at them side by side, it is pretty good. Now, I hope that this stuff lasts and doesn't wash off easily, but overall, I'm pretty happy with it. So even though I think the scoops look pretty good, over the years, I've come to appreciate the Elise for what it is and not trying to make it into an Exige or trying to make it look more aggressive with Exige components that never really came on this car. And actually, I've found that the design element of having this open is actually, it really flows with the lines of the car to have that open. see here, there's one bolt hole here and one bolt hole here that you'll need to put in. Now you definitely do not want to put those too tight because this is pretty, can be pretty brittle. But anyways, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Love the dark black finish. It just looks so much better than it did before when it was on the car. I love how this line really flows, and with the scoop there, it kind of cut that off right at the door line. And so I think there's overall, aesthetically, it looks really cool to have it. So anyways, we're going a little retro. We're going back to the original Elise look. Well, while I'm at it, I'm gonna do the front grille too. It's really easy to remove. You just kind of take off the top clips and then it pulls right out. The two side grills up front though are a little bit harder to remove, so I think I'm just gonna mask those off and do them in place. But this one was easy to get out. Okay, so here we are. We've got the front grille, easy to remove. So I pulled that out while I was at it. I kind of cleaned in there. And then for these side grills, which are a little bit harder to remove, I actually just masked these off. Don't laugh at my crappy masking job here. And I'm gonna hit them with the plastic resurfacer stuff. So one area of this project that maybe didn't go so well was while I was removing the front grille from here, there are these 4 little clips that hold it in up at the top. And of course, one of them broke. It's a 16-year-old piece of plastic, so I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. And this little clip is something that is obviously custom to Lotus. You know, it's funny because on the Lotus, getting all the Toyota parts for the engine and the transmission and all that kind of stuff are really easy, but it's the obscure stuff like this that is hard to get a hold of. You either need to get it at a Lotus dealer or from a Lotus parts supplier. And so it's kind of silly to import something like this from the UK since it's probably about a 50-cent part and you're gonna pay $20 in shipping or whatever on it. But luckily I found a solution locally. All right, so let me show you what I got here. There is this guy, Fred, on Lotus Talk. He goes by Rapid Lotus. Here's his info. And actually, this is the second time that he has bailed me out by helping out with something. And he makes these clips. He makes the replacements for these. This is a set of 4 of them. And he makes them, he 3D prints them, and sells them to people. So again, one of those odd parts that's kind of hard to get, but really easy solution. You can email Fred, and he will send you a set of these. All right, here is actually the replacement clip. It's a little bit different in how it's designed, but it'll still do the trick and just be fine. So let's go ahead and we'll pop that in first on the piece where we were missing one. And then this goes in very simply with these things locate into the holes in the bottom, and then you just push these into those tabs. So got the 2 in the middle, 2 on the sides, and there's 2 on the outside of it. And another one of the tabs broke, so glad I got more than one. Well, that was sort of embarrassing to break another one while I was putting this back in, but luckily I had some spares. And there we are, all secure, back in there. Put the tow hook back in. All right, so these rear vents are also kind of faded, and on top of that, they are a pain in the butt to take out. So I'm gonna also do these in place, just like I did those small front vents, and I'm just gonna mask everything, tape everything off really well here. All right, so here's my masking off work. Not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, but it should get the job done. So if you want to do this, I think this is, even though it takes a few minutes to get this set up, it certainly is a lot easier than removing these mesh vents, which are glued in and have some plastic rivets. So taking those out is really a nightmare, and I feel like they're never going to go back in properly. So I feel like this is a much better solution. Mask it off and just spray it, and then obviously mask off underneath too, so that the dye doesn't get on the engine. All right, so one of my favorite parts of any project that involves masking things off, whether that is painting or detailing or whatever, is that very satisfying moment when you remove the tape and you remove the newspaper and you can see for the first time how great it really looks. So let's do that now. Oh my God, I am so excited with how well this turned out. It really, really makes the car look so much better with these nice dark black slats. Unbelievable. Just super, super stoked at how this turned out. All right, so I had to get the car out of the garage and into some natural sunlight so you could really see how this turned out. And it is freaking awesome. Now, I didn't wash it, so you're going to roast me in the comments that it looks dusty or whatever, but I still think you can really see how black these vents turned out, and just everything looks super crisp.